What's up, guys? It's Chad with Living the Van Life up here in Washington. Here we are. It's time for another Beers with Chad. Go grab a brewski, as long as you're old enough. Nobody under 21. Just a disclaimer. Grab a beer. Let's sit down. Let's talk about life. Let's talk about van life. Yeah. So I think ever since I did my last video of sitting here in the van, drinking beers and talking about van life, I've had a couple people ask me some questions and bring up some subjects to talk about for some of these other videos, which I thought was great. My last video, Beers with Chad, was all about how I chose to live in a van and how that all culminated and came together. So if you guys are interested in hearing more about that, check out that video. The link's right up here in the corner. I'll throw that up there. But people have been asking, well, what's life like after living in a van? Now, just a little summary. I lived in my van for 3 years, starting in 2011, and I lived in my van for the main purpose of chasing my dreams to becoming a full-time photographer and filmmaker. And those dreams are definitely coming true. They're becoming lucrative. All the sacrifice has paid off of living in a van and living a different lifestyle outside of the box and kind of separating yourself from society. It's paid off, and the dreams are becoming lucrative and they're becoming reality, and they have been for a while now. And the reason I say they are becoming is because one thing I've realized that dreams, well, dreams are always going to be dreams, and there's always going to be a dream to chase. So it's a ever evolving process. And I tell you what, I'm in a spot where I never thought that I ever would be in, could be in, and that's huge. I'm very, very, very thankful. And guys, I got to tell you what, the opportunity for living in my van is what got me to this point. It allowed me to make those sacrifices in order to take those opportunities. When I had the opportunity to go film a feature film, a documentary, I was living in my van and I didn't have the excuse of, well, gosh, you know, I've got to work, I can't take the time off, or I can't afford it. And the reason for that is because I set myself up to live in my van so that I had the time and I didn't have the work commitments, so that I could focus on chasing these dreams. And the movie Out of Nothing, that was a film that I started in 2011, and that opportunity came up about 7 months after I started living in a van. And it was great to have that wide open road, as you will say, to start chasing that dream. And that film started with really a DSLR. In fact, very similar to the one that I'm talking to right now. A DSLR with a microphone, a tripod, and a homemade slider, and a couple of help from some buddies. We started filming a feature-length documentary. And over the years, that documentary became a reality, and it's now available online. In fact, you guys can watch it. You can go to iTunes and you can watch it. I'll put some links in the description below. It's available on Amazon, and it's had amazing success for the way it started and how everything came together out of nothing. That's been one of the biggest adventures in my life, and it's all been possible because I chose to live in a van. And the fact to be on the other side of shooting and directing my first feature-length documentary and have that under my belt, it's a huge feeling of achievement, and it's been great. And so, like I said, that's been one result of living in a van. And the process of producing that film has opened up so many other doors. We've done a lot of work with Triumph Motorcycles. In fact, some of you guys that have been following along through the years and following steadily have probably seen some of our trips of out working with Triumph. Through the relationships that I built from producing out of nothing, I've had the opportunities to work with Triumph Motorcycles, and LDOT and I have started a business, a production business called Emanate Films. I've talked about it before. In fact, there's a link to that channel if you guys want to go see what we do for a living and produce some and see some of the content that we produce for Triumph Motorcycles and Harley Davidson. Then you guys can see that there. So Triumph Motorcycles, huge opportunity for Emanate Films and LDOT and I as, to help build the business that we've done. And that's led to many other projects. In fact, we were in Spain back in September. We were on a 25-day project for Harley Davidson, helping them create some content for some new models of motorcycles that they just released recently. And so, I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg of some of the projects that we've done and the way that life has evolved. And like I said, guys, that has all stemmed from the opportunities and taking those risks, making those sacrifices to live in a van. And I think that's the interesting part about van life for me. And now a lot of the feedback that I hear from you guys and what van life content is like today. And I guess I never really understood. It's been a couple years, I'll be honest with you. It's been a couple years since I've really dug into see what van life content there is on YouTube in the last couple years. And so after a lot of the feedback that I've been hearing from you guys and how much you guys missed these kind of raw videos, so I started looking to see, well, what is out there for van life content? And I was actually pretty surprised to see and I know it's a lot of what you guys are feeling like, the van life over glorified. And I'd have to agree. There are a lot of videos and a lot of content out there that just gives that idea that van life is just all puppy dogs and rainbows. Or maybe more like puppy dogs and bikinis. Because I tell you what, I see a lot of van life content that involve bikinis. Now, why it's great and it's good eye candy, I mean, I can't say that that's what van life's all about. And so I can definitely agree with you guys that van life in a lot of aspects has been over glorified. And it's interesting now, I see a lot of content coming out that says, oh, van life isn't all it's cracked up to be. And it's kind of the opposite movement. And a lot of people saying how hard van life is and how it's not everything it's cracked up to be. And this is why I hate van life, and this is why van life sucks. And, you know, which I think that's good information for people to see. People got to see all aspects of it. But at the same time, van life, I can't say that there was any part that really ever sucked for me in van life. But I think a lot of that was because I had a bit of a focus on chasing a dream. And I lived in my van, not so that I could be lazy and, you know, say screw responsibility, I just want to be lazy and live in my van and, you know, wake up with a bikini model next to me and have my dog sleeping in the bed on the other side of me. Sure, that's all great, but that's not reality. I mean, I guess for some people it can be a reality and they're lucky to have that. But mine was a different focus of living in a van, and it's paid off. Like I said, you guys got to go check out of Nothing. Look it up on iTunes. I'll put the links below. It's cool to be able to talk about that being a result of living the van life, because it really and truly honestly was. In fact, when you guys watch Out of Nothing, make sure and take note of how many times you see the van in the background of the film. Oftentimes I've wanted to have a drinking game with all the buddies hanging out, watching Out of Nothing, that every time we saw the van in the background or somewhere in a shot of Out of Nothing, that that we'd all have to take a shot. And I guarantee you everybody would be passed out before the movie was ever done. So nonetheless, the van was a huge part of the making of that. So links in the description, go check it out. But beyond that, we're currently in production of our next feature film. It's another documentary film, and it's actually another land speed racing film. It's something we've been in the progress of shooting for the last year and a half. In fact, in 3 or 4 days, we're packing up to go to Australia. The race team that we're following, or one of the race teams I should say that we're following right now, is packing up their race program, and they're heading to Australia. There's a dried up salt lake that leaves a salt flat, and it's in Australia, and they're going there to race their motorcycle. There is not really anything motorcycle about these motorcycles that they're racing. Yeah, it's got 2 wheels, but it's about 23 feet long, and it's shaped like a fuselage of a jet, and it's set to go 400 miles an hour on land. Piston powered, wheel driven, and okay, it's not about motorcycles. I mean, of course, the film is about motorcycles, but more importantly, it's about the human element, and it's about the humans that are behind these projects, and the humans that are behind these dreams, and the passion that goes into chasing these records. And with land speed racing, it's not like NASCAR, where, you know, these drivers get paid millions of dollars and these race teams get paid millions of dollars. Land speed racing is very opposite of that. It's so much human passion behind it, all for the glory to say, I've got the world's fastest motorcycle. And there's 3 motorcycles in the world capable of competing at these speeds currently. And so it's a story of human passion. And I feel like any success that Out of Nothing has had is really based on that as well. The fact that it's a story about human passion and the human element behind motorcycle racing. And there again, I feel like that was able to shine through because of all the passion involved with living in a van and the passion behind chasing a dream of photography and all the passion behind filmmaking. When you're passionate about filmmaking, it's pretty easy to tell. I don't want to say it's easy. I don't know the word right off the top of my head, but it's pretty straightforward in telling a story about other people's passions. So, yeah, another film in progress. Like I said, headed to Australia in just a couple of days. So right now the stress levels are high, and chasing dreams isn't always about fun and games. It's not always about puppy dogs and rainbows, and it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of living outside the box, and I almost mean that in a literal sense, in the fact that there's not really much time for normality. You start questioning, okay, where do you cross the line of being passionate about something or being obsessive about something? And that's something that I've been trying to get serious with myself about. Where do you cross that line? Where is it passionate or where is it obsessive? Because I feel like we've pushed ourselves so far outside this box that you start feeling like maybe you don't fit into the normal society because you don't get to punch the clock at 5 o'clock and go home and have a personal life. You don't get to punch the clock at 5 o'clock and go drink beers with the bros. Sometimes you're there until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, 7 days a week, pushing that passion forward, pushing those dreams forward. And I tell you what, right now, what I keep convincing myself of is the fact that it is, right now it's a sacrifice. And the sacrifice of living in a van paid off in the fact that we've got a film on the market, we've got a very successful business, working for companies like Triumph and Harley Davidson, and getting to travel around the world and film for big companies and do awesome things. So that sacrifice is paid off, and the amount of time and dedication that it takes right now to push through this wall, I hope will pay off. Because right now is a time where it's really becoming a true test of human sanity, is what I say. Part of the film project that we're working on right now, like I said, we're going to Australia. Last summer, we followed this film project down to Bolivia. One of the other 3 race teams, took their race program and they went to Bolivia, which is a third world country in South America, and we worked at about 12,000 feet elevation for about 14 days. And the amount of time and dedication that it took to pull that off was huge. And sometimes you find yourself in the middle of these situations, these scenarios, where you've pushed yourself to the max so far that you're starting to question your sanity, and you just hope that there's something on the other side. It's a leap of faith, just like when you take that leap of faith to start living in a van, to chase a dream, or to do whatever you're living for. It's a leap of faith, and the only reason I keep pushing is because I know that one day when I made the decision to live in my van, that there would be something on the other side. Well, here I am 4 or 5 years later with hopefully something to show for it. And so it's a matter of keep pushing through this wall. And yeah, that's life right now. Life is like a giant wall to climb. And like I said, going back over the last 5 years and being able to watch these YouTube videos on my Living the Van Life channel, it's like having a journal. You know, those 5 years of my life is all documented. And so being able to go back and watch those videos as if you're going back and reading your journal entries through the years, it's cool to see where life has gone. And I can certainly tell you that some of the happiest times, some of the most free-spirited times in my life were living in my van, when all those dreams were unfolding before me and becoming a reality. And so it's hard because right now life is definitely a lot more stressful. Life is tougher right now than they were back in those times. But that's what it takes to do big things. And you just gotta have faith and push through. So if you ever find yourself in the moment of life is too tough right now, or you know, van life is too tough right now, I don't know why I'm doing this. Well, first of all, you gotta find your passion and what's in it. Why are you in your van? Why are you living that life? Why are you making those sacrifices? And hopefully there's a passion for you, because first and foremost, those passions is what's going to push you through to the other side. And so anyhow, that's what life is like right now. It's stressful, but there's also big things happening and have happened. And there's definitely been times of questioning myself. Why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through it? And with great risk comes great reward. And that's what I'm going to believe in for all this. So anyways, guys, go out, freaking chase your dreams. Sacrifice something big in your life. Make a change in your life. Do something that scares you. Do something. Yeah, I guess this was a little bit different than most van life videos. But hopefully it helps, because that's where I've been. That's where I'm going. And I hope you guys can find somewhere in there too. So guys, like I said, go check out Emanate Films. That's a YouTube channel. That's what that content there, that's what LDOT and I do for a living in Emanate Films. Check out Out of Nothing. It's a 90-minute documentary about 4 guys from the Pacific Northwest that chased their dreams of setting land speed records on motorcycles that they built in their garage. So check that out. I'll post links in the description below. The new film coming out that we're working on right now, stay tuned for that. We'll have more information as that gets closer to heading into post-production. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out and listening to me ramble on about all this stuff. Subscribers, guys, subscribers, subscriptions, views, everything that's going on with living the van life right now, honestly, my mind is blown. It is so cool to see the amount of feedback coming through, and just getting back into doing these videos again and being able to provide you guys some content. And all the new subscribers that are coming on board, thank you so much for subscribing. If you're new to the channel, you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Most importantly, there is a huge handful of you guys that have been here from the beginning, and I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the comments. Please, please, please leave comments below. Tell me what you guys think of this video. Tell me about the dreams and the passions that you guys are chasing. And if you did like this video, make sure and hit this like button. You know, the other thing that I'm always curious on, if you do hit the dislike button, leave a comment below and tell me why. I'm curious. I'm always wondering what that is. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for everything. Peace out. Keep on trucking.